Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, a few weeks ago, I put out a video about my Boxster 718 2.5 litre flat 4 GTS, comparing it to the 4 litre flat 6 GTS, a film I wanted to make for a long time. Unfortunately, I messed up, and I messed up in a big way. And in this video, I am gonna hold my hands in the air and fess up and explain to you the things I got wrong, and maybe give you some very poor excuses as well. But I'm not too big to apologize and to say I actually got it wrong. I've subsequently researched, found a few answers, and I still have a few questions that are unanswered. But that's what this video is about. But before I do that, I'm on my way to get some new tires, and I thought you might like to know about that as well. It's so pretty around here. Now, let me give you a little bit of backstory. So, I've had the car almost exactly a year, and it came with Pirelli P0s. Not my favourite tyre, but they had plenty of tread on them, and I thought, well, I'd be a fool to not run them and use them. And I took them on tour last year in the Pyrenees and the Alps, and my plan was always to change them out for Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss. However, when I was on tour, and I've done a video about this, I'll put a link above if you haven't seen it, I had a blowout. I had a front left tyre go, and I had to get the tyres replaced in France, and on the fronts, I ended up getting a new set of matching Pirelli P0s, but unfortunately got absolutely screwed. They cost me €1,000 for the front tyres. And I thought, well, the plan was to come back from tour and change my tyres out. I thought, well, no, I've just spent €1,000 on tyres, so I'm going to get some wear out of them. And I've ran them ever since, but I've now got about 14,000 miles on the car, and the rear tyres are ready to be changed. They're still legal, they're still within their wear guides, but especially when it's damp, you can just feel the back end doesn't give as much grip as it should. So I'm ready to change. And if you're changing brands, really, for me, although minimum you should do is have the same tyres on both axles, for me, on a performance car, you should have the same tyres all round. So I'm on my way to my local tyre fitters to get a set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S N-rated tyres. And I think that's really important, especially on a performance car like this. The P0s I've got on the car are N-rated. They are specifically designed for this car and approved by Porsche for use on this car, and so are the tyres that are going to be put on the car very shortly. So let's go and get the tyres fitted, and then once I've done that, then I can talk to you about the mistakes I made in the video and also give you my first impressions of the new boots. But I'm going to put them to the test in a big way next week when I go on tour with Podium Tours, and I'm on my way to Belgium and also to Germany, and hope to do some high-speed runs on the Autobahn. I really needed my tyres to be top-notch for that. So there, I could feel the rears slipping up. So let's go to Pro Tyre and get these tyres fitted. Now then, while the guys get Lady P on the ramps, which are having a bit of a struggle because of the low front splitter, here are my lovely tyres. Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, N-rated, absolutely mega things. I just love the sidewall of these, so I cannot wait to get these on the Porsche and see the difference. I had these on the JCW Clubman, absolutely loved them. For me, one of the best tyres on the market. So yeah, just can't wait to start running these. Always nice to just have a look inside the wheel arch, in the brakes, look at the brake discs. Also had it up on the ramps, just had a look underneath it. It's absolutely filthy at the moment, I know, but it will get a full detail before we go on tour. But yeah, these are the rears. They are pretty sorry for themselves, I think. Now the rears are off, and yeah, all I need to say is, yeah, that's why we're getting them changed. They really are right at the end. You can see the wear markers just there, but there's a lot of yeah, minimal amounts of tread block on there. Yes, good form that they're getting changed, this one too. And you compare that with that bad boy. He's hiding away, look. Massive shout out to these guys. So I've been coming here to do my tyres for ages. You've done lots and lots of sets. All done. The Frenchies did it wrong, did they?
Yes, they did, yeah. They've counterbalanced the wheels.
So if you ever get your tyres done in France when you're in the middle of nowhere and you have no choice but to get your fronts done, just come back and get them checked again.
Yeah.
So they'd left the old weights on and just put some more on?
Yeah, they put some more on there, so there's 2 sets of weights on there. So all they'd done is counterbalanced the weights that were on there previously rather than actually balancing the wheel. Not good.
Oh dear. Anyway, massive shout out to you guys.
Thank you very much.
I'll put all the details below. Basically, Tyre and Auto in Southbourne. If you're in this area, come here and get your tyres done here. So there we go. New boots. Yeah, a massive shout out to those guys. I've been coming there for my tyres for the last couple of years because it's so close to the house. And they always do a great job and they're always super friendly. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to give you straight away an impression of the tyres because I probably need to just spend a bit of time getting the feel for them. The rears were really badly worn, so I'm going to clearly get a huge amount more grip, especially in wet weather conditions. But yeah, the fronts, I'm actually going to move the fronts on. A friend of mine's going to have those. So my video. So I guess I just need to not make excuses, but preface this by just saying that I normally try and shoot videos during the week and then leave the weekends for time with the family. And unfortunately, the week I had the 4-litre GTS press car, the weather wasn't great and it just wasn't possible for me to film during the week. So I ended up having to film at the weekend, and I had plans already at the weekend. So I had a very short period of time to get the filming done. And it was on a Sunday. And I wanted to get some comparative stats. And I really struggled to get like for like because they don't make this car anymore. It's easier to get stats for cars that are still made, but they don't make the 2.5-litre GTS anymore. And I struggled to get like for like or comparative stats. And I effectively got 3 things wrong on the video. The first thing I got wrong was the weights. Now, getting accurate weights for cars is always super tricky anyway. Sometimes they're wet, sometimes they're dry. They'll be called din weights, curb weights. It just becomes quite challenging to get the weights right. And I thought I had, and I just didn't really think about it when I looked at them. I knew the 4-litre would be heavier, and when I quoted 120 kilos difference, I should have checked myself and gone, hold on a minute. 120 kilos, that's way too much. And I didn't. And unfortunately, even the people coming back and responding to me saying, you got it wrong, even there was a variance in those. Some people said 25 kilos difference, some people said 30 kilos difference, some people as much as 60 kilos difference. So it's safe to say the 4-litre GTS is heavier than the 2.5-litre GTS, in the region of around 25 to 30 kilos. You can actually feel that in the car though, I have to say. But I was wrong on that one and I got picked up on it, and hands up to that one. Next thing I got wrong was the 0 to 60 times, and that's super easy to do because it depends where you look whether or not it's quoted as a 0 to 60 or 0 to 62. Sometimes, because obviously 0 to 62 is 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. And then whether or not you're looking at the figures for the PDK or for the manual box. And my mistake was I quoted the 0 to 60 time for the manual, which is about half a second slower than the PDK. And I had the PDK on test. So that wasn't great. And then when I did the 0 to 60 comparison in this car, I mentioned about my rear tyres not being great. And yeah, they're not great because I've just had them changed and they were nearly bald basically. But I didn't launch the cars. And the reason I didn't launch the cars, I'm not that keen on doing a launch control in my own car. Just from, I've got to sell this car at some point, and I'll launch press cars because Press teams don't mind you doing that, but I'm just not that keen on launching my own car. Now for this 0 to 60 test, I'm in auto change box, I'm in Sport Plus mode. I'm not going to do a launch control, I'm just going to literally plant my foot onto the throttle. 3, 2, 1. Little bit of slip, away. There we go. So, 0 to 60 in 4.55 seconds. Now this car should do it in 4.1, but I'm pretty sure that will be 4.1 using launch control. And also, as I said, the rear tyres on this are very nearly at the end of their working life. Now exactly the same test, I'm in Sport Plus mode, auto change. I'm just going to dump the throttle. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 3.94. Had I done a launch control in this car, what that does is it kind of spools up the turbo a little bit more, and it certainly gets it off the line better because this dug in a little bit. So the 0 to 60 comparison, you know, and the other thing, you know, people say, oh, it's, you know, you quoted 3.8 and it was 3.7. There's a tenth of a second difference. So I got that one wrong. But by far and away, the biggest problem was, apart from the fact it's just started to rain. Let me just put the roof up. Ugh. It was meant to be a really nice day today. It's not. Anyway. So yeah, the final thing, and this was the thing I got the most grief for, and still to me, the most confusing thing, is that the 4-litre GTS just didn't feel big enough. I couldn't get comfortable in it. And I tried lots of different things. It had exactly the same seats. They are exactly the same seats as this car. Yeah, I've got plenty of room in this car, and in the 4-litre I didn't. And I tried lots of things. I measured from the front of the seat to the throttle, and there was a difference in distance by about 1.5 inches compared to this car compared to the other car. And the only conclusion I could come to was that the cabin sizes were different. Now, what I should have said in the video is, I presume that there may well be a difference, rather than saying there is a difference. Because subsequent to the video and the amount of grief I got in the comments, I have had a conversation with Porsche, and there is no difference in cabin size. The bulkhead doesn't come forward at all in the 4-litre. And that makes sense, because the tooling required to do that would be horrendous. But it's not an unreasonable thing to do that. If you think about the difference between coupes and convertibles, there's quite a considerable difference internally when you look at the coupe to convertible on a lot of models. So there isn't a difference in cabin space, but that still confuses the hell out of me, because I could not get that seat comfortable. And a few people have said I didn't have it low enough. Believe me, I had the car. You can watch the video and you can try and work out where the seats were in the video, and you can make assumptions or tell me what I was doing wrong. But I had the car for 4 or 5 days, and I just couldn't get comfortable. I couldn't get sat in the car with the same amount of space as this. And the only logical conclusion I could come to was that they were different. And because it was a Sunday, I couldn't really check. I'd done all my measurements on the Sunday, and I made an inaccurate statement. And unfortunately in the video, I put my hand up. It wasn't great, and I made those 3 errors. And for anybody who's watched that video, I apologise for that. I do want to add though, when you make videos for YouTube, and you know, I'm not a journalist, I'm a car enthusiast. I love driving, I love my cars, and I started making videos as a hobby 7.5 years ago, and it's now what I do for a living. And I know I have a responsibility to get things right, and I do my research, and I do try and get things right. But it is very difficult to keep the internet happy. Things don't have to be too inaccurate. The source of information, you have to go to quite a lot of places to reference that particular nugget of information. And every now and again I get it wrong. And when time pressure is on you, that's normally when you get it wrong the most. So I wanted to do this video to kind of say, look, you know, the comparison some video. Lots of people, by the way, said I had a hidden agenda because I didn't want to, you know, feel like I bought the wrong car. Honestly, I really don't have a hidden agenda. The 4-litre GTS is an amazing car. The flat 6 in a Porsche is an amazing engine, and it makes an amazing noise. They are just different. For me, I couldn't afford a 4-litre GTS at the time. I probably still couldn't afford one now. A few people said that the residuals means that things like the monthly payments probably wouldn't be that different. Well, yeah, it depends on how you view car finance. I see the total cost of ownership as more of an important number than just the monthlies. And I just didn't have that financial, well, I just didn't want to go to spend 80 grand instead of 60 odd. So the difference between the two cars, they have their strengths and their weaknesses. They have things they're good at and things that the other one's better at. For me, the 2.5-litre flat 4, if you can live with a different engine note, which many of you have a complete conniption about, and you can't have anything other than a flat 6 Porsche. If you can live with a flat 4, the 4-litre GTS, the 2.5-litre GTS is a brilliant car. It does so many things well.
Hazard reported ahead. Life is full of obstacles. It's how we overcome them that matters.
Thanks, Christina. So, opening her up on a little bit of road now. The car feels far more planted, and there's obviously an element of that because I've now got a decent amount of tread on the rear of the car. With a very different type of tyre, different sidewall, and I know the ride quality. I was talking to my mate Joe Achilles, and he was saying, look, the ride quality is going to be so much better because of the different tyre wall, and the car just feels so secure and so planted. Oh. So the next thing we'll do is we'll take these tyres in this car on tour, and I'll put it through its paces in Belgium and Germany. But I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. I know it was a different kind of video, but I really did want to put something out there to just say, look, I got it wrong. I know I got it wrong. There isn't a difference in cabin size. If any of you have got any ideas why I can't fit in a 4-litre GTS and I can fit in a 2.5, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to know. I'm keen to try and get access to that car again just to see if I can sort it out, because it's still a complete mystery to me. There's no logical explanation now. That was the only logical explanation I could think of, and clearly I might have thought of it, but it was wrong. But anyway, I shall see you on the next video. If you like that, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care. See anything around the corner? No. You take care, guys. Drive safe.